This is future Ty after the video that you're about to watch. The face cam is really blown out. The video is good and informative and everything. But yeah, I apologize in advance for my face cam. It looked fine when I was recording, but I just look more white than I already am. But enjoy the video anyways. So if you're getting into music, you're learning music production, you're learning how to play music, you're learning an instrument, I thought I'd make this video because major scales are kind of one of the most fundamental things you have to learn when you're learning music. So I'm going to attempt today to help explain to you how to work out major scales, how to work out those scales to learn the keys of different songs, how to work out, okay, on a piano, like what white keys versus black keys do I play? And then how can I translate that to my instrument, or if you play a different instrument, if you play piano, whatever you're playing, hopefully this is going to be helpful for you in your situation and with what you play. So to start off, what I want you to do is I want you to grab a piece of paper, which I thought I had a piece of paper here. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to grab a piece of paper for myself. Okay, so what we're going to do is on your piece of paper, I got my notebook here. On your piece of paper, what we're going to do is we're going to write down the notes on the piano. So we're going to start just for I'll explain where it is on the piano in a little bit, on the piano chord. And this might help as well. If you have a piano at home, it's important that you maybe follow along on the keyboard. If you don't, this written down version of all the notes is going to help you to work that out as well. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to write C. So we have our C. So what we're going to do is we're going to write down all the letters of the musical alphabet, which is C, D, E, F, G, A, B. So if you were to start at A, it only goes to G. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So we're going to start with C though, because this is the easiest major scale to learn, especially when you're first starting. We're going to leave a gap between each note. So we're going to write C, gap, D, gap, E. And now on the piano, there is no black key between E and F. So we don't need to leave a gap for E and F. Then we leave a gap, go G, then leave a gap A, leave a gap B, and then and no gap between B and C, because again, there's no black key, and then we just write C. So C to C for the sake of this first major scale, but this is we're going to finish and write all the notes of music. We're going to write every single note here in music that you could possibly play, so you can kind of place them. So these ones are the white keys. So now we're going to write in all of the black keys. So all of the black keys kind of offset to the white keys, right? So we're going to kind of write them down a little bit to show the offset. So first we have C. So C on the piano is right here. I am very much learning how to play around my tripod with my camera right now. So this is C. So we've written down C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, so every major scale starts at a note and ends at that same note. So with that being said, let's get into these ones so we can continue to figure out. So you have C and D. In between these is this black note, which has two names, but we're going to write it down here. I'll show you how to do it. So this is a C sharp. So first of all, what I want you to write down is go C, and when we write down sharps, it's a hashtag. So we do a little hashtag. So that's the symbol for a sharp note. So we have C sharp, but it also can be D flat. So the flat symbol is basically, it looks like a small lowercase d for the most part for this video. That's what we're gonna go with. So because this note is above the C, sharp indicates that it is higher than the previous note. So if it's a C sharp, it means it's one key higher than the C. If it's an F sharp, it is one note on the keyboard higher or a semitone, we'll get to that in a second, higher than the previous key. So yeah, it's all the black notes are the sharps and flats that we're going to look at. So if it's a black note, it'll be the sharp of the previous note or the flat of the next note. So with that being said, we'll just do the next one together and then I'll let you write in the rest yourself. So we have D. So this is D. So then in between would be, this is higher than D, so it's D sharp, lower than this note, which is E. So this is E flat. So with that being said, we can write down D sharp or E flat. So remember, sharp is a hashtag and flat is a lowercase b looking thing. So with that being said, I want you to go and fill the rest of these out yourself. I'll just quickly do that. Okay, so feel free, as you write down the rest of these notes, pause the video, and then you can come back, press play, and then we'll go through the rest. If you really don't want to, then I guess you can just copy down what I have. But I think it's important for you to remember this stuff and to actually benefit from it, that you actually work it out yourself so it sticks in your brain a little bit more. But that's my caveat out the way. If you want to pause the video, go ahead. If not, this is what you should have. So you have C, C sharp or D flat, D, D sharp or E flat, E, F, F sharp, G flat, G, G sharp, A flat, A sharp, B flat, B, C. So again, I got you to write down all these notes, especially if you don't have a keyboard or piano at home that you can use to visualize everything. This is a good way to know all of the notes and to be able to go through and use the formula that I'm about to share with you to figure out every major scale. So we have our white keys, which are just the regular letters. And then we have our black keys, which are the in-betweens, the black keys on the piano. So the one thing that we need to understand as well now is what whole steps and half steps are. So a whole step, basically what a whole step is you skip a note in between. So one whole step would be C to D. Another whole step would be D to E. And then when you get to E, another whole step would actually be E to F sharp. So whenever you do a whole step or a whole tone, it is skipping a key. So a whole step, this one, skip this one. So that's a whole tone or a whole step. Now a semitone or a half step, so that's the both names for it. Semitone or half step is just the directly adjacent key. So you just go to the next key across. So a half step would be C to C sharp, D to D sharp, even G to G flat. So we're not going to get too much more in depth than that for this video, but just know whole step, you skip a note in between. It's the second note away from the current one you're on, and a half step is the note that's directly above it, whether it's a black or a white key. So with that being said, you can write this one down as well. I'll put it on the screen as well, but the formula to work out major scales is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So that is whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Or I'm going to throw this in the video because this is how my brain remembered it, because it kind of has a rhythm to it. Tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Now in my head, it kind of plays as a little song whenever I'm remembering it. This is how I learned it. So tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, tone, 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 semitone, tone. And it can kind of continue onwards, because if you use that formula, you will just play that scale on the entire keyboard. But yeah, tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Write that down. So I'll show you what it looks like when I write it down. So I've written it down here. Excuse my bad handwriting. But so this is what it's ultimately going to look like. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So this is the formula that you can use to figure out all the major scales. So we're going to start with C. C is arguably the easiest, and I know it's the first scale that I ever learnt. So C starts here. So this white key directly beside the two black keys. So you see how these keys are separated. There's 3 black keys here,
two black keys here, and then they're separated by these two white keys not having a black key in between. So this is a good way to remember where to start on the piano. So to the left, the white note directly to the left of these two black keys here, the one next to the left of the two, this is C. So another trick you could do is get some like masking tape when you're learning, put it on the keys to remember all the notes. But if you can't do that for some reason, this is C, and then you can work up C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So you can work out what notes are what that way. So we're going to start with C. So to work out the major scale of C, we're going to use this method of whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So to begin with, so we start with a whole step or a tone. So C, one whole step would be skip a piano key and go to the next one. So a whole step, C, skip, D. Then the next one would be another whole step. So D, skip, E. And then now we have a half. So we only go directly to the note to the right, F. So there's no black key in between, but because it's a half step, we don't go to F sharp. Half step goes to F. So C, whole, skip, skip, half. And then we're back to a whole note. Skip, G, whole, skip, A, whole, skip, B, and then another half to end it off, C. So now we have the C major scale. So again, start at C, whole step, skip, D, skip, E, half, F, whole, skip, G, skip, A, skip, B, half is C. So whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So just remember when you're doing this, if you forget what notes are in the C major scale, you can use this method to figure out what exact notes are there. But the easy thing about the C major scale, to make it really simple for you to remember, it's just the white keys. It's just the regular D, like C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. No sharps, no flats, no nothing like that. It is just the white notes. So when you're playing this, that's the major scale. That's the C major scale. Now we're going to figure out a different scale. So if we pick a random scale, we're going to try and figure this out using the whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half method, or tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Let's do G. So we're going to do G major. So this is G. So this is where we're going to end. This is where we're going to start. First, we have a whole step. So what does that mean? Skip one, go to the next one. Perfect. So it's one whole step. Another whole step. Skip one, go to the next one. Then a half step. Go to this one. Then another whole step. Skip this one. So we're on D now. This is D. Another whole step. E. Another whole step. F sharp. So now we're playing our first sharp note. It's our first black key that we've actually played with this next scale here. So F sharp, and then we finish in a half step back to G. So now we worked that out. So beforehand, if you've never played the scale before, you didn't know that there was an F sharp. Now it's only one F sharp, so that makes it very easy for you. But you can work that out because you're using the method that I'm sharing. So go back, whole, half, whole, half. So I'm hoping that makes sense, especially with me playing the piano and showing you on the piano. Let's just try one more, because after we do this one, I'm going to let you guys go and figure out the rest yourself, because you can just use this method to figure out the rest of the scales. And there's a lot of resources on YouTube, online, on even with like scales and images and stuff you can get online. If you maybe need a little bit more help, then that's no problem. Watching as many videos and learning from as many different people as you can is definitely a good method. But I'm hoping that what I'm explaining is helpful. So I'm going to do one more. So we're going to do D together. So D major scale. So we can kind of do this together. Okay, D major scale. Whole, whole, F sharp, half, whole, 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 half. Easy, right? So once you have the whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, major scales are kind of easy money. So I want you to use what we wrote down here. So we have all of our notes. So again, if you don't have a keyboard at home, we have our little handout, I guess, the thing we wrote down. You can still use this. So if we look on here, each of these is like a key. So these are the black keys. Okay, so black key, black key, black key, black key, black key. So you got the 3, which is here. This is this one. And then you got the 2 here, which is these ones. So you can use the same method. So when you play a C and you want to do a whole step in the G in the C major scale, a whole step would skip this one and go straight to D, right? That's what we learned. So a whole step skips one. Here, so a whole step, C, a whole step, skips this one, goes here. A half step goes from here straight to here. So that's a half, and then 2 of these keyboard keys is a whole. That should help you if you don't have a keyboard at home. That way you can kind of work it out on your own little notepad and have it written down for yourself. So hopefully that this was kind of helpful and you can work out the rest of those scales for yourself. This works with all the major scales. This method will help you to remember in the future to be able to help you with your music theory, your music writing, your music playing. And especially when you play with other people and everything, knowing this is super important. And knowing major scales is important to knowing what key a song is in. If you're going to write a song, it's important you know what key it's in, what chords it has, what chords you can play, what notes you can play in that key. So major scales are definitely an important fundamental. So I wanted to make this video helping you to understand how it all works, and hopefully you can now go and use it in your own life, in your music playing. So let me know if you want more music theory videos like this. I'd be happy to make them. But if you enjoyed too, let me know in the comment section below. And if there's anyone else like watching this video that knows music theory very well and they're watching this video just to see how I explained it, please, if you have a better way of explaining something, or you have a better understanding of something from a certain angle, or maybe you have just a different take on something, feel free to put it in the comments section below as well, because, you know, more people makes for smarter people. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll be sure to see you in the next one.